Peter says, are you ready? Well, of course I'm ready. I'm here in the garage. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I hope you had a great Easter. Superb weather here in Adelaide. A couple of Easter stories that we're working on. I was tipped off that Woolworths were refusing to sell Anzac Biscuits coming up to Anzac Day. Now, I've got to check that out, because I frankly don't believe it. And another story, which is equally as silly but worth checking. The story was that the ABC went out of its way not to mention the word Easter or royal when reporting in Sydney on the Royal Easter Show. They simply, when they had to mention it, the show, I mean, they called it the show. It's the Royal Easter Show. Again, as I say, I'll have to check that out. We've lost a great Australian, ladies and gentlemen. He was only 76. Les Twentyman. I don't know if you know him. It depends on where you're watching this program, but that could be absolutely anywhere in the world. But he was an inspirational man. For 40 years, he advocated and worked for the youth of this country. He was a tireless voice for the kids, mostly street kids, a lot of homeless kids. In 1994, he was awarded the Order of Australia. He was a finalist for the Australian of the Year. I used to speak to him often, many times. Fantastic guy. Les, we'll miss you. And thank you for the wonderful contribution, tirelessly, you made to the lives of so many. Dear. We'll get to the dates a little bit later on, but you know, the comings and goings of people always, I guess in a sense it's inspirational, but it does worry me. I used to find it interesting that people of a certain age would buy the paper just purely to look at the obits, you know, the obituaries. I always suspected it was because they were just checking to make sure they weren't in there. I'm getting to that age. Bickford, speaking of anniversaries, Bickford's a wonderful South Australian, still South Australian owned company, Bickford's Drinks and Cordials and whatnot, 150 years old, or 150 years young. Congratulations. The outrageous 218%, speaking of things to drink, the outrageous 218% Chinese tariffs on our wine industry has been lifted. Pretty much cost us around $2 billion a year, over which we will probably never get. The winemakers, the grape growers will struggle to get us back to where we were. And God bless you. There's a red wine glut out there. There, of course, there are the forced vine pulls and the bankruptcies and all of the tragedies, personal tragedies that went along with these years of difficulty. Lots of lessons to be learned. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. Have lots of different markets. But it also tells you that the Chinese, if we offend them, can be quite ruthless. And they certainly know where to apply the pressure. And they know how to make us hurt. The price of gold has surged. Not that it would interest everyone. I mean, I suppose some people have gold reserves. I don't know. But it's jumped to $2,200 an ounce. $2,200 an ounce. I sometimes wonder, we were on the gold reserve. In other words, every pound note or every dollar bill that we had in circulation had to be backed by gold. And Australia over the years produced an awful lot of gold. But once we left the gold standard, no one has ever said what happened to that gold. Who's got it? Where did it go? Pete, can you remind me? Well, I'll look into that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Where did the gold go?
Where did the gold the gold reserves that Australia had to have to back its currency. Where did that end up? $32 billion last year for Australian iron ore. Wow, it's still above $100 a tonne. The All Ordinaries has hit a record high. Figures out last week showing inflation is sort of bumbling along. I mean, it's kind of flatlining, 3.4%. It's sort of like it's stuck there. It's been there for a while. Real estate has shown a 7% growth over the last year across the nation. That's the average. Here in Adelaide, for example, we saw 14% growth. Perth was 18%. Now, as an investment, I don't think superannuation is returning anything like that, while at the same time putting a roof over our heads. I've always considered real estate to be the best investment anyone could make, but I'm not an investment advisor, let me point that out. I have in the past episodes of the Court of Public Opinion remarked on the travel expenses of some of these people in Canberra. One, Tony Burke, for example, and his extravagant 4-day trip to America, and the Assistant Treasurer, Stephen Jones. Well, without going over all that again, today it's Penny Wong's turn. Foreign Minister, Senator Penny Wong. We talked about, and it comes up in conversation, of course, the Canberra bubble, like they live in a completely different place. The thought that politicians really do live on a different planet. Could be right. I think they do. No wonder it took them so long to switch from The Voice as the major national issue to the cost of living as the major issue. It would never occur to these people that the cost of living was a problem, let alone an issue. Let's look at Penny Wong. Her base salary is over, I'll get this right, $423,600 a year. Now, on top of that, she managed to claim $276,633 in just the last 3 months, the first 3 months of this year. So if we can extrapolate that out for the full year, we will have paid Senator Penny Wong $1,528,200. Cost of living? What cost of living? Don't you just love socialism? Aren't they amazing? And now, just a couple of days ago, the 2 VIP jets. Did you hear about this, Pete?
No.
2 VIP jets. They flew the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen, to Scone at the same time, costing $100,000 between them. They made these jets wait on the tarmac with the engines running. And you got the Comcars and all the rest of that crap.
To the same place?
They went to the same place.
In 2 separate planes?
Yep. 2 separate planes.
Oh, God.
I think they hold us in contempt. They think we're stupid. And you know what? We are. We are. These 2 guys had a hissy fit and wouldn't fly on the same goddamn plane. Is that the story? Is that right? Outrageous. But I can tell you what, Pete, the ABC won't be running that story.
No.
No. 2,619 votes were cast in the ballot for the state Aboriginal voice to Parliament. That's out of a potential 300,000 people eligible to vote. This means that more than 90% of the eligible Indigenous voters chose not to vote. I've heard of voting with your feet, but that's ridiculous. What does that tell you about this government? It gives you some idea how much interest there is within the Indigenous community for this whole idea. But it's not about them, of course. No, it's about the Labor government. It's about ideology. Yeah, I know the nation did not want this, but we will find another way through, a back door or something. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not a mandate for anything. It is perhaps a recipe for disaster. I can't say that this election was stacked, but it looks very strange. 4 of the candidates didn't even get one single vote, meaning that they didn't even vote for themselves. This is not democracy. No way in the world. It's a way for the activists to justify, with the Labor government's support, access to government and therefore power with no real mandate or authority. But you watch. This government will take this token Aboriginal voice as a reason to block and talk and implement anything it wants to. The black community and the white community will be manipulated by the lefties. I want to spend a lot more time talking to you about this on Friday around the table. Just basically crazy. This is when on Friday we live stream 9 to 12, jeremycordeaux.com. But here's what an Aboriginal patriot and statesman, and one of my favourite people, had to say about this ballot. Warren Mundine, his name. Warren said, "What a joke." He says, this shows, I am paraphrasing what he said, but I think accurately. This shows Aboriginals have rejected this body, and the government has wasted God knows how much money on this futile exercise, trying to show that they care. Total debacle and a disgrace. Stop dividing the nation, Warren Mundine says. I agree with him. And actually do something that makes a difference. Thank you, Warren. I rest my case. Well, at least till Friday. We are spending $1.6 million on a, now what did they call it? A state prosperity campaign here in South Australia, which is nothing more than a governmental self-promotion for Labor. Now look, I know they all do this kind of thing. They all do it. They have a budget to do it. You know, they've got a go out there and make us look good committee or something, I don't know. But they shouldn't do it at taxpayers' expense. It's a party political thing, I would think. But just because they all do it, it's no excuse. But again, on Friday, I could ask you, is that money well spent? I don't care whether it's the Liberal Party or the Labor Party who do it, and as I say, they all do it, but is it money that you and I would agree would be well spent? Let's hear from you on Friday. I love those ads that the feds are currently running, the ones that say, the Murray Darling. Ooh, the Murray Darling. breadbasket of Australia. Lots of pictures. The Murray-Darling, we will fix it. Hey, I have heard this before. We will fix it. Sure you will. Like Senator Button fixed the car industry. Boy, did he fix it. Oh, and mustn't forget the steel industry. He fixed that as well. The steel industry, barely in existence. The motor car industry, not in existence today. Not an apology. Oh, but we meant well. We meant well. Doesn't count that they're incompetent. Energy, you know, is a big thing. The cost of energy, the reliability, the source, how it is made, how it is generated. Has it occurred to anyone that, say, here in South Australia, the poles and the wires, the means of delivery of electricity, the poles and the wires are owned by the Chinese? Most of the electricity providers, and I think I could say Australia-wide, are owned by the Chinese. Now, if you look at their advertising, their promotional material, they are obsessed with this clean, green, responsible corporate citizen stuff. Clean and green. Regardless of the extra cost, if such power that they sell is generated by renewables. We've gone from a country who could boast the cheapest, most reliable electricity in the world to the most expensive in the world. It's the sort of thing that you'd imagine would have decent people marching in the streets. It could be this government, or maybe the very smart Chinese, but when you compare the difference between Australia and China, the policies or the philosophy, the double standard is horrific. It's a case of the Chinese power companies saying to us, do what we say, that is, move to renewables, not what we do, which certainly isn't that. They could apply this renewables crap to China, but they don't. I'm not poo-hooing renewables. I think they have a place. But to imagine they could replace reliable electricity generated by coal is ridiculous. The Chinese did not replace coal. They are buying more and more of it, and from our economy's point of view, thank God they are. You see, they want cheap, coal-generated, reliable baseload power. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, they are right. And we are the fools. We are the lowest emitting country in the world, being told by the biggest polluting country in the world to bear the brunt. Why China? They must be laughing themselves all the way to the bank. Very prosperous country, Pete, and you can't blame them. They're smart. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Albanese. What a smart man you must be. Oh my God. Dates, my friend. Have we got any music?
I'll find some. Oh yes, I thought maybe Kathy Mattea. 18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses or whatever.
18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses, yes. What about Johnny Mac? Have you got... Johnny Mac's going to sing one of your songs, isn't he?
Well, I'm hoping so, yes, and we're going to talk to him. You're going to talk to him.
I've got a call in for him to line up an interview for Friday.
Yeah.
True. Johnny Mac. How old is John?
91, I think.
91, and still singing.
Yeah.
Has he still got the Cadillac with the bullet hole in it?
I don't think so.
I don't know. So the so the story goes that it was Elvis Presley's car, because Elvis Presley used to shoot cars for some strange reason. Strange boy, Elvis. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday. April 2. You would be interested, in fact you would know, Pete, that it's Emmylou Harris's birthday.
Yes.
Born 1947.
Oh, I'm in love with her.
She has the most wonderful voice. I love her. Glenn Miller's orchestra recorded the American Patrol in Hollywood on this day in 1942. And that was a great piece of music. Hans Christian Andersen was born in Denmark, fairy tale teller. 1805 was the year. Ron Palillo was born in New Haven, Connecticut, best known for his portrayal of Arnold in Welcome Back, Kotter. That was in 1954 he was born. Jack Webb was born in Santa Monica, California. Sergeant Joe Friday in the series Dragnet, which started out as a radio show from 1948 for 7 years, then twice on US television, once from 51 to 59, then again from 67 to 70. Jack Brabham was born in Hurstville in 1926 on this day. Sir Alec Guinness was born in London on this day in 1914. Laurie Oakes revealed that the former DLP leader, Senator Vince Gare, would become Australia's ambassador to Ireland in 1974. Where are the journalists of the calibre of Laurie Oakes, I wonder? I don't know. Frank Sinatra got married to Nancy with the laughing eyes, at the Lady of Sorrow Church in New Jersey in 1939. Argentina's President Galtieri announced that Argentine forces had landed on the Falkland Islands, claiming Argentinian sovereignty. That didn't last long. Didn't you love General Galtieri's uniform? He had medals from here to here. I've heard of fruit salad, but that was ridiculous. Anyway, 1982. To have that many medals, you have to sort of be the head of the CFS. I used to go in for a lot of that. Mick Young got married, 1960. Penelope Keith was born in 1940. Frank Sinatra recorded his first song for Capitol Records back in 1953. It was a song called Lean Baby. Never heard of it. Jodie Foster made her stage debut at Yale University on this day in 81. Dallas started on American television in 78. America's first cinema, I'll leave you with this one. America's first cinema opened. It was called the Electric Theatre in Los Angeles. The movie was The Capture of the Biddle Brothers. It was this day in 1902. Golly.
Jeremy, I might play an Emmylou Harris song since it's her birthday.
Well, wouldn't it be appropriate?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Emmylou Harris. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux, Peter Clayton. It's nice to be on the same bill with Emmylou, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I live in hope, actually.
Look, you'll probably realise it. Anyway, when you're singing songs with her, just tell her to remember that I love her.
Yes, I will.
Okay, I'll join the queue. We'll see you tomorrow. Believe in yourself, and goodbye from the court of public opinion.
I don't wanna hear a love song. I got on this airplane just to fly, and I know there's life below me, but all that you can show me is the prairie and the sky. I don't wanna hear a sad story full of heartbreak and desire. The last time I felt like this, I was in the wilderness, and the canyon was thirsty bird. I would rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. I would hold my life in a saving grace. I would walk all the way from Boulder to Birmingham if I thought I could see